All right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, HALAL, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rukah double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the Apostle Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim, continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, so a couple things. So I was reading what was this? It's a couple hours ago, and I was reading I was in Psalms, the 76th chapter. So the verse one now I put in the title of the video, Daniel the 7th chapter, the 20th verse, where it talks about his look was more stout than his fellows. Now, the key word is stout. Now, what's been going on for the last few months, maybe probably for the last year, you've had Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States, which is the daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great. He's been on a tear, and he's been talking very proudly. He's been talking very arrogantly, right? So the way he's been talking, that arrogance would spread across all these other Edomites that's in America, like it's actually of the seed of Esau. So they feel that, well, some of them still feel, that everything is all good, and this devil, this president of theirs, Trump, is going to somehow be the guy to put America to be the top don that it once was many years ago. But what they don't understand is these other countries, Edomite countries included, their ally countries, the EU, NATO, there's one big fuck up. Everything is fucked up. So the thing that brought this on, a lot of the things that brought this on was these tariffs. So these tariffs, and the thing with the whole thing with the 48ers in Iran, that has caused that stout among their fellows to be very high. But in Psalms, the 76th chapter, it says something about those that are stout-hearted. Now, when the Lord talks about people that are prideful and arrogant, what did the Lord say he was going to do to people that have arrogancy to them and are prideful? He said he's going to bring them down. Now, as of right now, with that arrogance that Trump be talking like, he's boasting themselves up. The same thing that Pharaoh did. Same thing. It's just history repeating itself, right? Now, hold up. Now, when you go into the book of Daniel, Daniel had a lot of gems. Daniel had the whole things of ending day prophecies, the dreams that kings had, the dream that he had. You had a lot of eye-opening, a lot of, basically you had a lot of things in the book of Daniel that basically were like heavy hitters as far as the scriptures go and as far as the truth goes, as far as the gospel goes. But I'm going to read one verse in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, the 20th verse, because that's where it talks about the stout-hearted fellows. Now, when you go into Daniel, the 7th chapter, that 20th verse that I'm about to read, where is it at? The 10 horns, same as the 10 horns that was in the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, it's talking about the EU, NATO, Esau's allied countries that are allied with America. Now you have seeing how divided, which also ties into that, because now America and the EU and NATO, they're not all on the same page as of right now. As of 2025, Esau is not on the same page. All their nations and their countries, they're not on the same page. But I'm going to read the book of Daniel chapter 7 verse 20, and it says, "And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, and of that horn that had high eyes, a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." And that talks about that horn. That horn that's talked about is of the Roman Empire, because I believe in where is it at? Hold up. Hold on. Damn, where is it at? Okay, hold up. Go up a little more. Where we at? Going to the EU, but when you go into Daniel the second chapter, it gives more explanation of toward the 10 horns. But as far as the 10 horns go, that's all we talk about NATO. Like when it goes to Revelation the 17th chapter, which I'm gonna go to actually. Let me go to that real quick. Because actually what I wanted to so I'm gonna go right to the point. So there's the book of you know what? I'm gonna start at the top. There's a book of Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. Now, when you go into it's funny, when you go into the caption and King James Version says the doom of Babylon. And we go into NLT, the caption says the great prostitute. So I'm gonna read from Revelation the 17th chapter from the verse first. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Now that whore, that great prostitute, it's talking about America, because it's talking about Babylon the Great, right? Which is part of whose kingdom? Esau's kingdom. Same as when you go into Daniel the second chapter, where it talks about the damn, what was the belly? What was the belly? I forgot what the belly. Damn, what's the belly? Was that the goat? Hold up. Fuck it, hold up. Hold on 1 second. The dream that was that Nebuchadnezzar? Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar had. Okay. So Nebuchadnezzar was the king of that Babylon back then. Okay. So the dream he had, it was the image was of a fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass. Okay, yeah, so the belly, which is of brass. So the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had in Daniel the second chapter ties into Revelation the 17th chapter. So it says that in this Daniel chapter 2, verse 34. Now, this dream he had the dream of the statue. There's plenty of breakdowns on it. I'm not gonna go into it all because it's not really what I want to bring out, but it all does play they all coincides with each other. So there's the book of Daniel chapter 2, verse 31, and it says, thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. Now, this is Nebuchadnezzar talking to Daniel about the dream he had. Now, Nebuchadnezzar went to people before Daniel, asked them to break down the dream he had, and they couldn't do it, right? So it says, thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Verse 32 of Daniel chapter 2, it says, this image's head was of fine gold, the breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest so that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. Now, that image was the breast and arms. His belly, the gold, goes into the Roman Empire, Greco-Roman Empire. That feet, the legs of iron, his feet part clay, part iron and part of clay. That's talking about right now these the American part of the Roman Empire, right? Hold on, let me make sure I get this right. So fine gold, Babylonians, Babylon, the breast and the arms, silver was the Medo-Persians, then his belly and his thighs of brass, a Roman Greco Empire. And it's like, yeah, so that's a branch of the Roman Empire. So that's part of that's coincides with the beast that's mentioned in Revelation 17th chapter. So damn, might as well go into it. Hold up. So I'm going to what Daniel told the king now. That's right, this is prayer. I wasn't even planning on getting into this. So this is the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 36 now. So this is Daniel talking to Nebuchadnezzar. It says, this is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art the king of kings. For the God of heaven, YAHAWASHI, have given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. So he's talking to himself. You represent part of the statue. He's telling him. And it says, verse 38, verse 38, and it says, and wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven have he given into thine hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this the head of gold. So he's telling Nebuchadnezzar that you're the head of gold that you saw in the dream of that statue, right? Verse 39, so it says, and after thee shall rise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. That's going to the Medo-Persians, and then into the Greco-Romans, which is Esau. Verse 40, and it says, and the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for so much iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. So talk about Rome now. And it says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for so much as thou sawest the iron mixed with merry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. That goes into what we're seeing now. All the Roman Empire, the EU, all this is part of Esau. This is part of Esau's kingdom. And what did the Lord say? For Esau at the end of the world, Jacob the beginning of it that follow. Because when you go into the stone that was mentioned after, it's all about YAHAWASHI's kingdom. YAHAWASHI's kingdom that's going to be on the earth. That's going to destroy this kingdom is which was happening right now. This kingdom right now is presently being destroyed each day that passes. But damn, I don't want to go over my point. There we go. Hold up. Oops. Fuck. So I was in the hold up. Let me go back. Let me go in the and that was blue letter. So going back to Revelation chapter 17, verse 2, and it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's all about the daughter of Babylon, America. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Those 7 heads being what? Hold up. Let me remember. The 7 heads being of the Roman Empire. And 10 horns, which now represents the EU, NATO. Boom. So what we see right now, America being that kingdom that was partly divided, all of that goes into the Roman Empire, the last leg of the Roman Empire, it's still America. Because America is a branch of the Roman Empire. Because the Roman Empire don't really fit that description, right? The Babylonians don't really fit that description. Like all the kingdoms of the earth that was in the past, they don't really fit that mold of what it says the daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great did, which is having a nation drunk over the wrath of their fornication. America fits that though. Because America, from its existence and then time where it became so great of a country, so great of a nation, if you will, the nations were made drunk. Because all the nations, what? They profited off America. All this talk about what is the number one export? No, import. All the countries profit off America off of the consuming. Because America didn't produce nothing, but America had all the consumership. And that's what you're seeing playing out right now with all these tariffs. America, through Trump, is trying to have that dominance that they had as far as like all the nations being made drunk. He's trying to use that against the nation now. But they're saying that we don't really need too much of your wine no more. And that's what China's saying. Because China's saying that, yo, y'all can do your tariffs, y'all can do whatever, yo, that shit not going to affect us, man. We were here way before America was a place. Which is saying what? Moab is saying like, yo, we've been had what we got going on. Now, granted, they did profit, like they had a nice arrangement, but now the Lord is what? The Lord is severing ties. He's breaking the daughter of Babylon down. So this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 4, and it says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." Now, what is America? A bunch of fornication. Look what America pushes. LG, the alphabet community, TG community, idolatry, adultery, rape, rob, and murder. America doesn't go against wickedness, because why? America is the most wicked. Now, granted, it's of Esau's kingdom, but what Esau did with America was push his wickedness out on a great vibration, on a large scale. That's why everybody in America that's why they're dwelling carelessly. That's why Americans are the way they are, thinking that America can't be touched. But now that's why the Lord has what? He has Trump, this new administration, touching America from the inside. And that's how he's having now what? Egyptian against Egyptian. That great city as spiritually Sodom and Egypt, that's all about America. In the very same book of Revelation, as a matter of fact. But verse 5 of Revelation chapter 17, and it says, "And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great. But the mystery's been unlocked." Now we know, the ones starting with the apostles on down that gave the understanding, we know that the mystery, that whore, that Babylon the Great is talking about America, right? It says that mystery, Babylon the Great, now is no longer a mystery. The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Mother of harlots. And it says, verse 6, "And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YAHAWASHI. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and the 10 horns." And those 7 heads, 10 horns, that all goes part of Esau's kingdom. The 10 horns being the EU, NATO, mainly the EU. The 7 heads being NATO. All of the structure of Esau's kingdom, from America, the UK, and I forget offhand the other ones, but like it all coincides with Esau's kingdom, the kingdom we're in right now, the people that are ruling right now, under these elites. But hold up, now I gotta go back to because the actual point of the preface of the video, I wanna it was Daniel the 7th chapter 7:20. Now, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 20, and it says, "And of the 10 horns as mentioned in Revelation 17, that goes into the EU and whatnot." And it says, "And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." And that's talking about America now. And a ruler, the prince of America right now is who? Donald Trump. And that's why he's getting at all these other Edomite countries, the EU, NATO, talking about America should leave NATO. Talking about, oh, he said something before with the he was talking, I forget what he said particularly, but he said something against the EU. And those are his those are fellow Edomites. And that goes also into what? Satan's house being divided. How shall it stand? If Satan be divided against Satan, how shall his kingdom stand? This is Satan's kingdom. Satan rules the earth through Esau, Edom. Now, when you go into Daniel, the 7th chapter, the 20th verse, in the NLT, it says, I also ask about the 10 horns on the fourth beast's head, and the little horn that came up afterward and destroyed thee of the other horns. This horn had seen greater than the others, and it had human eyes, and a mouth that was boasting arrogantly. Isn't Trump now boasting arrogantly? These other countries, I mean, I don't hear, I mean, maybe you could say Russia here and there, but as far as who's boasting arrogantly on a steady basis is America. Hence through Trump now. Now, if you hear how Trump been talking lately, he's been boasting real proudly, boasting real arrogantly. Which goes into what his look was more stout than his fellows. He's boasting arrogantly. So, but yeah, we're gonna come out on top. We're gonna win. Don't tell us how we're gonna. Telling Zelensky, don't tell us how we're going. We're gonna feel very good. That's all Trump's been doing since he's been inaugurated in office. He's been boasting arrogantly. So all these Edomites in America, they thinking like, well, we're just gonna ride with that. That's why the Lord said what? He shall bring the proud and arrogant down. Those of a haughty look. What did the Lord say he hated the most? A proud look and a lying tongue. Those are an abomination unto the Lord. And that's what Trump is. A lying tongue and a proud look. That's all America is a proud look, lying tongues. Boasting arrogantly. So if he's looking more stout than his fellows, and a mouth that was boasting arrogantly, which is Donald Trump, Esau. Now, you have these Edomites that rule, but I don't really hear too much on how these elites be talking. I don't hear too much about these other countries that's of Edomite, like Edomite rule, like in the EU and NATO. I don't hear them boasting too arrogantly. But you have America who don't even got the room to talk, boasting the most arrogantly. These other Edomite countries, they're not boasting arrogantly. That go to show the kingdom, the one that was divided. See, America is part of Esau's kingdom, but it's divided amongst all the other Edomites. That's why I said his look was more stout than his fellows, a mouth that was boasting arrogantly. But now to the point, what I really want to bring, what I was reading earlier, is Psalms, the 76th chapter. Now let's get into that. Oh shit, I'm bugging. So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 76. I'm gonna start at the top, but the point starts at verse 5. So it says, this is the book of Psalm 76, verse 1, and it says, in Judah is YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI known. His name, which is YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI, not Jesus, not God and Jesus. His name, YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI, is great in Israel. Now, where does that start right now? With the prophets, with the elect. Because the elect are the only ones boasting and praising the name YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI on his side before Israel gets the rulership of the earth back. Verse 2, it says, in Salem also is his tabernacle and his dwelling place in Zion. But you go into NLT, it says Jerusalem is where he lives. Mount Zion is his his home. Now, that's not the land, yes, but those people in Israel now, the Lord is not dwelling with them. Because you hear them niggas talk, they've been talking about their allies in America. Talk about America. America's going to be our help. They don't talk about their guy helping them. Right? But anyway, verse 3, and it says, there break he the arrows of the bow, the shield, and the sword, and the battle. We go into NLT of Psalm chapter 76, verse 3, it says, there he has broken the fiery arrows of the enemy, the shields and swords and weapons of war. What is the Lord going to do when he comes back? The nation's going to shoot their arrows at him. They're going to go to war with Yahawashi. He's going to what? Then he's going to break them. See, right now, they're talking about going to war with each other. They're not even thinking about going to war with a super being. They're not even thinking on that level. Esau, these other heathens, China, Moab, Ishmael, Elam, they're not thinking about going to war with a super being, a higher entity. Because the guys that they follow, they don't really push their gods coming back, returning, and blah, blah, blah. Like how Israel has a redeemer. These other nations, they don't push a redeemer. But anyway, verse 4, and it says, thou art more glorious and excellent than the mountains of prey. Now, the word mountains going to governments. But in NLT, it says, you are glorious and more majestic than the everlasting mountains. Verse 5, and here's the point. Psalm chapter 76, verse 5. Now, we talk about what? The Lord said what? His look was more stout than his fellows, right? And that's talking about America, hence Donald Trump right now. And Psalm chapter 76, verse 5, it says, the stout-hearted are spoiled. They have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might have found their hands. He said the stout-hearted are spoiled. The same way he said his look was more stout than his fellows. See that word? Hold up. Let's go into the word stout real quick. Matter of fact, hold up. I know what I'm going to do real quick. Oh, I'm bugging. Seven. Well, here it just says great. Great, a fig of power. That's the word stout means. So I'm going to go to etymology real quick. Let me get a... So basically, stout just means great. Now, all right, so now I'm in etymology, and the word stout. This is from the 13th century, or 1300, excuse me. And it says stout. It says valiant, brave, right? But also proud, haughty, skilled in battle, fierce, cruel, proud, what is it? Arrogant. This is etymology. Stout. It says arrogant, proud, haughty, and we know what the Lord said about what he's gonna do to the haughty. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Isaiah. Where are we at? Where are we talking about the haughty? Okay, here we go. There's a book of Isaiah chapter 2, verse 11, and it says, the lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. It said the haughtiness of men. The what? The pride of men. So you have niggas like Donald Trump, the fucking J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, the elites, all these Edomites, the regular low-level Edomites, all the haughtiness and all the pride that they had, the Lord said he's going to bring them down. He's going to bring that down. And it said, and the Lord alone, Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, shall be exalted in that day. That's the day we're approaching. So when it goes into, oops. So when he says, in verse 5 of Psalm chapter 76, it says the stout-hearted are spoiled. And that's what's about to happen. They're about to be spoiled. And who's going to spoil them? Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, and through his people Israel. And it says, and the stout-hearted are spoiled. They have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might have found their hands. If you go into NLT of Psalm chapter 76, verse 5, it says, our boldest enemies have been plundered. Our boldest enemies have been plundered. Who is our boldest enemies on the earth right now? Esau, Edom. Esau, Edom is the nation that has what? A perpetual hatred towards who? Jacob, the children of Israel. No other nation fits that mold. These Edomites, the so-called white race, have oppressed Israel the most. These are the same. Yo, I think I want to say Esau's the only nation that said for Israel to stop, put away being Israelite. All the other captivities, off the top of the dome, I don't remember them saying that, yo, you can't worship Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Maybe it might have happened in Babylon with the whole thing with the building. I forget, was it Babylon? But definitely in Esau's kingdom, because when it's in the time of the Maccabees, it said what? To put off all the so-called customs of being an Israelite. And that's what these devils are going to try to do right here. That's why they flag videos. You can't say this, you can't say that. Yo, copyright. Oh, this is inciting. Well, all we're doing was pushing truth and talking about you. We're talking about what you're doing. So yeah, so this is Psalm chapter 76, verse 5, and it says, now in verse 5, it talks about the stout-hearted are spoiled, but in NLT, it says, our boldest enemies have been plundered. They lie before us in the sleep of death. No warrior can lift a hand against us. That's when we get that power. When we get that power, Esau ain't gonna be doing that. Who's gonna be first to bring that power on the earth? Yahawashi, who the world called Jesus Christ. He about to bring the power, almighty power from the heavens, man. And that's why I said, and that's why, in what Revelation, the first chapter says what? All kindreds shall wail because of him. Because when they see Yahawashi come back to the earth, it's not gonna be a what's that word? It's not gonna be a damn, what's the word I want to use? For the other nations, it's not gonna be a welcoming visit. It's not gonna feel too welcoming. The other nations are gonna see Yahawashi and gonna be like, oh, there goes salvation for us. No, because what? The Lord said, you should be sanctified in the sight of many nations. So when Yahawashi comes back, breaks down the pride of Esau and these other nations, these other nations are gonna see the children of Israel be delivered in that great glory. They're gonna see Yahawashi, the elect, starting with the 144,000, the elect of Israel. They're gonna see them glorified together, because Yahawashi coming down with the glory, and he's gonna redeem those of the earth, of his chosen, of the remnant of Jacob. And that each day that passes, we're getting closer to that happening. I'm going to continue on. Psalm chapter 76, verse 6, and it says, at thy rebuke, O God of Jacob, which is Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, both the chariot and horse are cast into a dead sleep. And we go to NLT, it says, at the blast of your breath, O God of Jacob, their horses and chariots lay still. They're what? They're artillery. They're militaries, man. When the Lord comes back, these other nations' military, he gonna make a speedy riddance of these niggas. It said what? 2 Esdras 13. It said that great multitude that went to fight against him, which are these nations' militaries, they're gonna be turned to dust, turned to powder. From a great multitude to powder, a great multitude to powder. Verse 7, it says, Psalm chapter 76, verse 7, it says, thou, even thou, art to be feared, and who may stand in thy sight when once thou art angry. And the Lord we already know that the Lord, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, is angry. It says what? Vengeance burneth in his heart, the weapons of his indignation, his righteous anger. He hasn't unleashed yet. He's unleashing through small, you know what I mean, through like small increments. But that great judgment, that great indignation that's coming, that hasn't happened yet. That he spoke about, and right, just said in Psalm 76, Isaiah 34, Revelation 19, the great judgment to the whore, which is America. The Lord is going to bring down the pride of men. That's what people understand. He's going to bring down the pride of everybody that's prideful. That's why the Lord said, "But the meek shall inherit the earth." The meek are not going to be prideful, because the meek understand that we ain't shit. See, Trump is not meek. He thinks he's untouched. They think that this place ain't gonna go down. They think that they're not gonna be destroyed. Remember, Psalms 49:11, it says what? They think their house shall continue forever. But continuing on, when you go into NLT of Psalm chapter 76, verse 7, it says, "No wonder you are greatly feared. Who can stand before you when your anger explodes?" And these other nations gonna understand the fear of the Lord and the anger of the Lord once he comes back, once he sends YAHAWASHI back. See, they saw it first go around with when we got delivered out of Egypt. But since Esau been in power, since he deceived the nations, they forgot about our power, just like Israel forgot about their power. You got a majority of our people that don't acknowledge their power. They just think that we're just living life. It's just, we're just going with the motions. There's no explanation. It is what it is. What's in front of us. But this all goes back to the very beginning. The Lord set this up from the beginning. So verse 8, and it says, "Thou didst call judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still." And we go into NLT of Psalm chapter 78, verse 8. It says, "From heaven you sentence your enemies." Now, who are the Lord's enemies? Now, they talk about the Lord loves everybody. But right here, in Psalms, who is of David, who is a man after the Most High's heart, it says that your enemies. So that means that he don't love everybody. He don't even love all of his own people right now. No, let me take that back. He's not even dealing with all his people right now. He said he loves Israel. Who could love Israel more than him? But the Lord is not dealing with the whole nation of Israel. So Psalm 76 and 8, it says, "From heaven you sentenced your enemies. The earth trembled and stood silent before you." Now, that's in the NLT. What did it say? All the kings of the earth shall shut their mouths at him. With the Isaiah, the 52nd chapter. All the kings of the earth shall shut their mouths at him. All kings of the earth shall wail because of him. It talks about when the Lord comes back. Well, hold up. Matter of fact, hold up. Get a quick precept. Real quick. Being that YAHAWASHI is the Lamb that speaks of in the book of Revelation. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 15, and it says, "And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains." That's talking about when the Lord returns. It talks about they're going to be hiding. All classes of people. Verse 16, it says, "And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb." Now we go into NLT, Revelation 6 and 15, it says, "Then everyone, the kings of the earth, the rulers, the generals, the wealthy, the powerful, and every slave and free person, all hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains." That's about all classes of people. That's all when YAHAWASHI returns, right? Verse 16, and it says, no, excuse me, verse 17, it says, "For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" And we go to 17, and in the NLT of Revelation chapter 6, verse 17, it says, "For the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to survive?" Who is going to survive that day? Only the ones that can deliver up out of it. Everybody else is going to be what? Prepared for the slaughter. That's what they don't tell you in the churches. They don't tell you that it's going to be people that's not going to make it. You go to the churches, they make it seem like everybody's going to make it. That's why everybody's so comfortable doing all this wicked shit. But they, they say, that Jesus loves everybody. They even call it the wrong name. But hypothetically speaking, they say what? He loves everybody. Come as you are and be delivered. They don't work like that. The Lord said it should be many more that shall perish than be saved. That's all about the coming destruction that's coming. The Lord said the remnant of Jacob. It's not even a remnant of the human race. It's a remnant of one nation, which is the Israelites. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be able to withstand and survive in that day. Everybody else is going to be destroyed. So I'm going to go back to Psalm 76. So continuing on in Psalm chapter 76, verse 8, it says, "Thou didst call judgment to be heard from heaven, and the earth feared and was still." It says in the NLT, it says, from heaven you sentenced your enemies, the earth trembled and stood silent before you. Verse 9, when YAHAWASHI arose to judgment to save all the meek of the earth, Shalah. Verse in the NLT of Psalm 76 and 9, it says, you stand up to judge those who do evil, O YAHAWASHI, and to rescue the oppressed of the earth. Who's oppressed right now? The Israelites. And the only ones that want to get out of this oppression is the elect. The rest of our nation, they said they trust in oppression. They trust in this shit. They think this is the way of life. This is how it's going to be forever. But the elect obtained to want to get the fuck up out of here, man. The elect want to get out of America. The elect want America destroyed. The elect know that this is the Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, which are to be destroyed by fire. The second death. Psalm 76 verse 10, it says, surely the wrath of man shall praise thee. The remainder of wrath shalt thou restrain. And in NLT it says, human defiance only enhances your glory, for you use it as a weapon. It only enhances your glory. Whose glory is that? YAHAWASHI. No one can escape the judgment of YAHAWASHI. No Israelite can. No heathen can. Nobody. Nobody. No thing can escape the judgment of YAHAWASHI. The Lord said, I woundeth and I healeth. Even if you go into the animal world, you got animals that get wounded, they get sick, they get hurt, they get destroyed. It's the same thing. The Lord said, all flesh belongs. Yahweh said what? All things were created for him, by him, in the heavens and in the earth. Things invisible and visible. You can see animals, you can see fish, you can see insects, you can see birds, you can see people. And it's things that we can't see that the Lord also said he controls and he created. And this stout-hearted Donald Trump, stout-hearted Edomites, ain't no different, man. He's going to do the same thing to them that he did to Pharaoh. Humble them real quick. And it's going to be worse because the nation of Esau, the Lord actually hates. He said, I hated Esau. Like how he hates evil and the wickedness. Esau represents everything that the Lord hates. That's why he hates them. Because he physically manifests everything that the Lord hates. This is Psalm chapter 76, verse 11. It says, vow and pay unto the Lord your God. Let all that be round about him bring presents unto him that ought to be feared. Him that ought to be feared. And you go into NLT, it says, make vows to the Lord your God and keep them. Let everyone bring tribute to the awesome one. That's what these nations are going to be doing once the Lord comes back. Once Yahushua comes back to the earth, that's what these nations are going to do. Bring good tidings. Bring gifts. You know, like even in this kingdom, you got the rich and celebrities. You got all that. Everybody try to go bend over backwards to kiss their ass, bringing them gifts. What did Drake say? What did Drake say? I forget. Drake said, but basically saying we go somewhere we don't have to pay for nothing. Because what? Your presence is going to draw in the people that's going to spend the money. When Yahushua comes back, he's bringing the ultimate glory from heaven to the earth. We're on the earth right now. He's bringing the glory from heaven to the earth. And once it comes back, he's not leaving. This is his inheritance. He's not going to leave his inheritance. He said he's not going to leave it to another. And it's going to be beautiful. All right, I got the one last verse. So this is Psalm chapter 76, verse 12, and it says, he shall cut off the spirit of princes. He is terrible to the kings of the earth. Who's the king of the earth right now? Donald Trump. Who's the king of the earth? The elites who give Donald Trump the orders. He said he's going to cut them off. Cut off the spirit of princes. And in NLT it says, for he breaks the pride of princes. How Trump be sounding like? He be sounding real prideful. American pride. Proud to be an American. We're gonna see how proud you are to be an American in that day when Yahushua returns. That's because right now, even right now, America hasn't been touched yet. You still got people treading lightly with going to war with America. But that is changing every day. Because now you have these other nations talking about, we're ready to go to war with the US if need be. Now you got America, they on some like, nobody calling your bluff. Everybody's calling your bluff. You can't just be talking shit saying you're gonna do X, Y, Z to everybody and then everybody ain't gonna do nothing. Now everybody, it said let the weak say I'm strong, Joel the 3rd chapter. Now you got these other nations, these other countries. They have the same artillery. They have the same what's the word, firepower that you have. You're not the only big man. You're not the only man on campus anymore. All right. So this is Psalm chapter 76, verse 12 in the NLT. It says, "For he breaks the pride of princes, and the kings of the earth fear him." And that's what's about to come. The kings of the earth about to fear him. Because when Yahawashi come back, how else is everybody going to shut their mouths if they're not afraid? When you're afraid of something, you're silent before it. Just like, you got you got people when they say they like when you have a crush on someone, or when you have like a certain admiration for someone, you're usually quiet around them because that sense of nervousness. And these nations gonna be nervous when Yahawashi come back, because they're gonna know that he's coming to destroy us. Because you see who he's coming to deliver, you're gonna see who's on his good side. That's why the Lord said, well, in that day you shall know who my servants are. And that day you shall know who my chosen are. The ones he's delivering. The ones when he's coming down, they're going up with him. And then you left here on the earth, you're going to be like, damn, what's next? And that's when he's going to destroy America. He's going to destroy these other nations. He's going to bring everybody down. He's going to bring everybody down a notch or two. He's going to bring down people a few notches. Because you got Moab here. Moab on some prideful shit right now. You got China. They on some like, they shit don't stink. But the Lord said he got smoke for you too, Moab. You're not going to be next to rule after America. You're not going to be next to rule after Esau. The children of Israel have next. That's the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, people you call black, people you call Negroes, Negros, Hispanics, Native Americans, fucking Latinos, all that. Those are the people that got next to rule on the earth. Esau's ruling right now. And next comes Jacob. Now you're going to be there, but you ain't going to have this mentality you have now. Because you're prideful too. And the Lord said he's going to bring down the pride of men. And that's how the cookie crumbles. That's what's it. So all that stuff, all that shit Trump talking, all that shit President Xi talking, all that shit Putin talking, all that shit is the pride of men that the Lord, YAHAWASHI, said he's going to bring down. So, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Kakadash. Double honors to the powers of Israel, a.k.a. the powers of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.